Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, July 1st. Welcome to July. A new month is underway, and we've got a lot to get to on today's show once again. First and foremost, if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate that. If you have subscribed, thank you for that. If you haven't, shame on you. What are you waiting for? Get subscribed ASAP. Also, we are live on X once again. X is always very, very good to us, so we appreciate you guys. If you're watching us on X right now, that's awesome. And then, of course, you can check out every show on our podcasting platforms. Any podcasting platform, you should be able to find OTA, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A lot to get to this week, a great show yesterday. So go check out yesterday's show. Of course, it is John Deere Classic week, arguably the best week of the year right here in the Quad Cities. I love it. I'm super excited about it. Yesterday's show, Craig DeVries, Tom Johnston, and Todd Heiduch all joined me about 45, 50 minutes of purely John Deere Classic. We broke down the entire event. Who's going to win? We're probably not going to be right, but who's going to win? The sleepers, the young guns, the course itself, all those kind of things. Go check out yesterday's show for your complete inaugural OTA John Deere Classic preview. It was a lot of fun with those guys. We're going to continue the John Deere Classic theme today because coming up in a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by former tournament director and a good friend of mine, Clair Peterson. Will join us on the show, take a look down memory lane at the great events that happened during his 20 years as the tournament director. And also we'll continue to look forward to this year as well. Plus, big news for Clair. He's got a busy Wednesday. We'll explain that coming up in just a little bit as well. So excited to welcome Clair Peterson to the show in a matter of moments. Also, usually on Wednesdays we do Steamwheeler Wednesday. We're going to move that up to Tuesday because tomorrow we're going to be on location. We'll explain all that in just a second. But head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, Cory Ross, will join us around the 11 o'clock hour. The Wheelers, a big victory at home last week. They are officially in the playoffs, hungry for much more, of course. So we'll talk to Coach Ross here in a little bit. And also, it's been a really good season for the Davenport North baseball program. Another good season. They're now 12-4 in the season. They swept Central last night. I got the privilege of calling that game for MediaCom MC22, so got to see them up close and personal. we're going to be joined by their head coach, Colin Carstens, coming up in a little bit as they get ready to wrap up the MAC and look forward to the postseason. They open up at home against North Scott, so a lot to get to with a little high school baseball coming up in hour number 2 as well. We mentioned it just a few moments ago, but OTA is hitting the road. Off the Air will be live from the John Deere Classic tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All of the shows out at the course. Super excited to bring you that. We're going to fill up the shows with a bunch of John Deere Classic stuff, golf stuff as well. We'll continue to hit on the other sports as well, but really excited and thankful to be going out there and doing that. So once I get done today, I'm going to rip everything out and go head out to the John Deere Classic, kind of set things up and get ready for tomorrow's show. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, OTA at the JDC. We're excited about that. Also, we are hosting our inaugural, I don't want to say first annual, our inaugural OTA JDC Pick'em contest. It's really simple. Go onto social media, go to my social media on Facebook or at Matt Randazzo on Twitter, and just let me know who's going to win. You let me know the winner. Also put the final score. So 21 under, 22 under, 25 under, 29 under, new record, whatever it may be, you'll be registered to win. If your guy wins, you win. If there's a tiebreaker, it'll come down to that score. If you guys have the winner and the score, we'll pick a name out of a hat. The winner gets a pin flag. I said T flag yesterday. How bad is that? A pin flag signed by last year's winner, Davis Thompson, and also a bobblehead as well. So really cool. Thank you to the John Deere Classic for allowing us to do that. So jump on social media. I'll put something up once again tonight and get signed up and let us know who you think is going to win the John Deere Classic this year. So obviously we'll be focused on the John Deere Classic throughout the week right here on Off the Air. But we want to start, as we do every show, with some headlines in the world of sports before we get going. And a good news headline to start off, some good basketball information, some good basketball news in recent days. And we're going to start with this young man right here. Titan Anderson, former North Scott standout, former Northern Iowa standout, first team All-Valley. I think he was the Valley Scholar Athlete of the Year, first team All-Conference as well, first team All-Defense All-Conference as well. So he had a great career up in Cedar Falls. He has signed a contract to play in the the Summer League with the Pelicans in the NBA. So extremely excited for Titan Anderson. Of course, we've had Titan on the show at the end of basketball season. We're going to have Titan on the show tomorrow on OTA. I know we're going to be focused on golf, but we'll take a little second to talk to Titan tomorrow as he gets ready for a great opportunity with the Pelicans. So congratulations to him. We love seeing local standouts do well, and Titan Anderson doing big things, continuing his basketball journey. So excited for that. We'll catch up with him tomorrow. Other good news, former Iowa Hawkeye legend, and you can call Luka a legend, another young man who was on the show recently. Luka Garza didn't get his option picked up with the Timberwolves a few days ago. He signs and agreed to a deal with the Celtics, a 2-year, $5.5 million fully guaranteed contract with the Boston Celtics. Really cool stuff here. Luka playing well, continuing to get more time and more minutes with the Timberwolves this past season. Recent years, he had split back and forth between the G League and the big club. He was up in the NBA the entire season this past year. And he's done a great job of obviously super talented and skilled, but transforming his body, especially since his days at Iowa, to make a good career in the NBA. And now he's heading to Boston on a 2-year, $5.5 million contract. So congratulations to Luka Garza. That is exciting stuff. We expect to see big things from Luka Garza. And maybe after everything settles down when it comes to the John Deere Classic and 4th of July and all those kind of things, we'll get caught up with Luka Garza as we continue to get through the summer here on OTA, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So excited about those two items as well. As I mentioned, we'll have Titan Anderson on the show tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. But we start today like we started yesterday, and we'll talk a lot about it all week. It's time to talk about the John Deere Classic. And joining me now, a very familiar face when it comes to golf here in the Quad Cities, and John Deere Classic Week especially. Clair Peterson joining me right now. Clair, it feels weird because usually on a Tuesday of John Deere Classic Week, if you go back a couple years ago, I would be bugging you about many different things, but not to come on my show that I'm doing in my loft at my house. So both of our lives have slowed down a little bit, I would say. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, they have slowed down a little bit. I don't know. I can't speak for you. I think you're a busy guy. I'm a subscriber to your podcast, so I know that you're pumping, content out at all times.
I love it.
But yeah, this is obviously a week that everyone in town looks forward to. Being a tournament director for 20 years there, my week was a lot different back when I had that gig than it is now, but really exciting. And I'm sure that you got a lot of things you want to talk about today that are on my mind as well as everyone in town.
Absolutely, because it is a special, fun week. And I want to talk about this classic coming up and the tournament and what to expect this year. But I want to go back in time a little bit. I got a lot to talk to you about because you mentioned 20 years as the tournament director of the John Deere Classic, something that this area is extremely proud of. And I know you're extremely proud of as well. I guess the easy question or the duh question is, what do you miss the most about, being there, doing it every single day and watching it come to fruition every week in July, every year in July, I should say?
Yeah, I don't think it's, an unusual answer. It sounds, kind of an academic answer, but the people that are involved in the tournament, when you think about 156 players, 156 caddies, 2,000 volunteers, 35 board members, 100 committee chairs. Those are all special relationships. It all, comes together during tournament week. And in some cases, you don't see a lot of those people except during that week. So the first year after I retired, I just kind of made a conscious effort to give Andrew clean air and not show up. And, he's an unbelievable tournament director in his own right. He's done amazing things. But I did miss seeing, the staff and all those people I just mentioned. So coming back last year, I got on a volunteer committee, honorary observer committee, which is fun. We send people off on the first tee to walk with, the groups on Saturday and Sunday, or actually all week long now, and then greet them when they come off on 18. So I'm on campus all day on those days, and it was really special. So going back this year on that honorary observer committee again is something I'm really looking forward to.
You look at the growth of the John Deere Classic, and you could talk about the volunteers and the board members and all that kind of stuff. I'm not giving you all of credit by any stretch of imagination, but you watch something grow and mature. And it's so funny. We had a couple knuckleheads, 3 knuckleheads on yesterday with Craig DeVries, Tom Johnston, and Todd Heiduke. And we were kind of talking about the things that happened to have this to come to fruition. You've had a lot of times in your career where you're like, okay, that really helped, or this really moment helped out a ton. Looking at the entire journey, how do you encapsulate it? How do you look at 20 years of growth of something that this community embraces so well?
Well, I think Craig DeVries and I, he for the most part worked on that 50th anniversary book, and he's reprinting chapter by chapter as we lead up to this week. That story starting in 1971, and it wasn't just my tenure as tournament director. The John Deere Classic story, Quad City Open to begin with, is just one of understanding that this event is really special in a community our size. Groups of people who have run the race and then pass the baton onto somebody else, saying, don't drop this thing, the keeper of the flame, if you will. There's so many times over those 50 plus years now that it came to the brink. It was close to ending its run, and then it didn't because certain things happened. I happened to be in place in the mid-90s when it was on one of those final laps, it seemed, until the PGA Tour and Duke Butler, representing the PGA Tour, threw out on the table in this conference room the unbelievable idea that if Deere would become title sponsor, the PGA Tour would build a golf course here, a TPC course, and John Deere, who was in the equipment business, would take care of not only that course, but the entire network, that everything changed. So, the strength of field and things like that are other things that change. The introduction of the jet to the British Open helped bolster things in 2008, but it's just every year when we were looking at, businesses like to set goals, and our simple goal was, let's do better this year than we did last. And that's a little bit of what's happened. And Andrew, has taken the baton again and run with it. I never had the concerts on course. Mara Downing kind of came up with that idea from Deere, which has added a tremendous amount of excitement and brought people on the property that had never been here before. So another example of let's do better this year than we did last. And the story continues.
You look at it, Claire, and there's so many moments over your 20 years of like, wow. I used to joke like, man, if this putt doesn't go, or if this winter doesn't happen. And I always say like Claire has like a lucky clover or shamrock in his pocket or whatever, but magic happens, and it's cliche and I get it, but so many things happen. And we'd always say like, wow, it always is exciting. It always works out well. It's not luck, maybe a little bit's luck, but it's because of the course design, because of the people here. Magic happens is a slogan, but it really did. It still does, but it did, especially during your reign. Those 20 years, so many great moments. Why was it that everything happened? Yeah. A little bit of luck, a little bit of great course design. Kind of talk about that, because luck is one thing, but I think what we have here in the Quad Cities is special, which allows magic to happen.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. First and foremost, that magic happens here. Every year I came out of an advertising background, kind of come up with a tagline or a concept that would carry that year. And it was after the 2013 event that Jordan Spieth won his first win as a 19-year-old, that came up with that, trademarked it actually, because we liked it a lot. And it just does describe kind of the history, if you want to boil it down into 3 words, magic happens here. But that year, there were things that happened that if you were trying to, in the moment, figure out, is this the outcome we want or not? If you remember that 5-hole playoff, Zach Johnson, who had won the year before, this was going to be 2 in a row for Zach, potentially, after Stricker had won 3 in a row. Magic. Bounces a chip off the flag on the first playoff hole that looked like it was going to go in. And you're going, oh, the moment is gone, What a shame. 4 holes later, 19-year-old Jordan Spieth taps it in for his first win, gets all his FedEx Cup points, gets on the President's Cup team. 2 years later, he's won the Masters and the U.S. Open before committing to come back to the John Deere. So at the time, we didn't realize that probably was the best outcome that was going to happen, but it was. And I've talked about it many times that DAY brings design of the golf course, and those final 5 holes always come into play. First of all, you got 156 amazing players here, and they're all world class. But you have to get through those final 5 holes, whether you're the leader or whether you're chasing, where things really can change. Drivable par 4, 14th, 15th, stout par 4, 16 is a par 3 that should be birdied more than it is, but you would think at 165 yards, but there's an opportunity there. And then 17, you can get an eagle or you can get a bogey or worse, and that's happened. And then 18 just nails, get it done. And so many lead changes have come and gone over the sequence of those holes. So the course design really forces the winner to hit shots under pressure in the moment, and the best players are the ones who perform under those conditions. And there's all kinds of examples. I mean, think of Stricker's 2011 shot up and down from that left bunker on 18. Both of Jordan's wins come in playoffs where you got to play 18 over and over again, sometimes more than that. Zach's win, came in a playoff. It's a combination of all those things, and give DIY a lot of credit for the design of the course and the what it demands from the eventual winner, Bryson DeChambeau. Sinking a putt on 18. Not many people birdie 18 to win, and he birdied 17 and 18 to win it. So anyway, was that a long enough answer for you?
No, it's fantastic because it just keeps making me come up with more questions, because you think of it, Claire, the amount of moments, and I'm kind of reliving them with you. Obviously, you were in a much bigger position than I was, but watching Bryson DeChambeau on the range, waiting to find out if he was going to win, and then celebrating on the range. And I remember our guy was blocking out the other guys to try to get the right shot, or those playoffs you talk about. I mean, you had Jordan Spieth twice. You could have had David Hearn and Tom Gillis. I mean, and no offense to David Hearn or Tom Gillis, but we always would joke, like, what looks better on the billboard? And Jordan Spieth would look better on the billboard as you come down to the John Deere Road to get to the John Deere Classic. Do you have moments that you can go, like, and I get it, everyone can go and say, obviously, the three-peat for Stricker, or certain times there's those great moments, but how did you live out some of those? Like, was there some fun because it's different. We're fans. I'm media. Yeah. You're the tournament director. What was it like through your eyes going through the 5-hole playoff or the things we went through during the John Deere Classic?
Yeah, there's, two parts to the way I consumed those moments. One as a fan, and one, from the marketing of the event the next year. And to your point, having the right winner gives you a head start into that next year. That excitement carries on. Not that those other players aren't deserving, but again, I've thought about that a lot, and I think that again, the demands of those final holes, having to hit the shots. You talk about Tom Gillis as an example in 2015. He never won a PGA Tour event, and he didn't get it done under those high pressure circumstances in the playoff when, if he's going to get this done, you got to hit the shot. He hits it in the water. So kind of the truth wins out in the end to some extent, I think comes into play. But I've been asked that question, what are your favorite moments? And my answer had always been, and I guess today it'll continue to be, there was a 3-year stretch there. At the end of the 72nd hole, we're all standing behind the 18th green, obviously getting ready to see who wins, and then, take the trophy out on the 18th green and have the trophy presentation. So 2011, 2012, 2013, all 3 years, just like I did for 20 years, I'm behind that green. And in 2011, Stricker's won twice already. This is a chance for his three-peat, and it's slipping through his fingers. And we can only see, so much from behind that green, but we see that he's in this tough spot in the bunker on the left-hand side as you play the hole of the 18th. And we're going, we've already, we got a score in there where needs a par in order to even get in a playoff. And we're going, he's got a good chance of not even making the playoff, and we could see the monitor, and in live action, we're kind of watching the monitor because we can't see the live action, and we see the swing, and all of a sudden, thud, the ball comes down, and he's hit this miraculous shot. And now, oh, good, he's going to get a par, there's no way he's going to make the putt. Well, he makes the putt. That scene on the hill was amazing. There's a famous photograph of that. The next year, same situation. Zach Johnson, who's never won our event, has been a sponsor exemption since '02. Kim Huffam gave him, and our board gave him his first one. Similar deal, oh man, we need Zach to win. And of course, Weezy remembers this famously. Troy Madison, as Zach is on the 18th green, getting ready to just, close it out. Big roar from 17 that he captures on film of an eagle.
Claire, I told him at that point, and we were arguing on all the radios, and I'm like, get everybody in here. And Andy McKay, I got to give him credit, goes, no, he's fine on its 17. And I'm like, but we want every camera that we got on this shot. And all of a sudden you hear this roar. And of course, McKay, being a goofy Badger fan, smiles at me, Packer fan, and says, I told you so. And yeah, Weezy got that shot, but go on. Madison put a little kink in the armor.
Yeah, and Zach, he notices it. It's like an Augusta roar. What just happened? So now he's in a playoff. We're still standing behind 18. This has just transpired. And he gets in the left bunker a year after Stricker did and hits it to like 4 inches out of the bunker, to bury the hole and win the playoff. So that, is 2012. What could be any better than that? 2013, we're sitting back there and we go through the whole Jordan Spieth story. He sinks the bunker shot to finish at a number, gets in the playoff 5 holes later. So those 3 years, unforgettable. You couldn't rate one over the next. But that spot behind the 18th green is my favorite spot, certainly on the golf course, and is involved in 3 of my favorite memories.
Yeah, I remember seeing you there every year. It was the best. You look at it, Claire. I think 2015 from start to finish, when it comes to electricity, fans, people, I've never seen it matched. I will say, was it 2 years ago when Caitlin Clark came and played in the Pro-Am? That buzz was there that year and even that day. But 2015, and then I'll also put up there the Michelle Wee year. Where she we had an extra media center up by the trailers just because of the amount of media that was there. And then unfortunately it was weird because on Saturday morning it was like we had a whole media center to ourselves because she didn't make the cut. But the golf is one thing. Can you talk about electricity? And so I put like 2015 there. The Caitlin Clark stuff was right there. The Michelle Wee stuff. When it comes to electricity or buzz or vibe, what was the year or the moment that sticks out the most for you?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that contribute to that memory. First of all, it's a week-long event. It's not a one-day event, so it builds to some extent. And I would agree with you. First of all, the Caitlin Clark thing was as big a deal. Congratulations to Andrew on nailing that. I was out there as a fan with my granddaughter that day, and it was spectacular. And it kind of reminded me of, as you said, 2015 when we got Bill Murray early that week, who just was fantastic. You have a preconception of what your heroes are supposed to be like, and everyone loves Bill Murray, rightfully so. And you're kind of, oh man, is he going to be one of these guys? He was unbelievable. He was so kind and so generous and so nice to everybody and so funny. So that, starts that week at the same time, as I mentioned before, that everyone in the golf world is telling Jordan Spieth he is insane for being here. And I had to take, a lot of those questions, wouldn't you encourage Jordan not to come if you really, have his best interests at heart? He's won the Masters. He won the U.S. Open. No one other than Ben Hogan has ever gone and won those 2 events and then won the British. He needs to get over there early. Why don't you do the right thing, Peterson? And, I'm just absolutely crossing my fingers that he's going to come back. And as I watched him as I watched the U.S. Open, I told my wife when he won, I go, well, there we go. There's no way he's coming back. And literally within 15 minutes, I got a bang on my phone from his manager that says we need 3 seats on the jet, which just blew my mind. So that's still integrated into the start of the week. You don't know if Jordan's going to miss a cut or anything. But as the week goes on, we got Bill Murray on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We had nice weather. Weather's a big deal. We've had plenty of years where weather wasn't so great. But then he pulls it off, And the great thing to continue that is that he gets on the jet and goes to the British and finishes 1 stroke out of a playoff with Zach Johnson, who was also in our field, also on our jet. People would say, these players are crazy for not getting to the Open venue earlier than what you're taking them. How could they ever win? Well, they did. And then Francesco Molinari was on our jet and won a few years later. So 2015 was unforgettable. Your point about Michelle Wie, and thanks for bringing that up, because, we talk a lot about our sponsor exemptions, and that is one that should not be forgotten.
Yeah.
In 2005, she was, I think, 15 or 16 years old, had almost made the cut at the Sony the year before. And we just thought, a sponsor exemption is defined by someone who's going to be in your field that wouldn't be there otherwise, that generates interest. There's always, arguments about who's deserving and who's not. Well, she certainly fit the bill. Big name in the golf world at that point. And having her here was great. Her family was terrific, delightful. And she proceeds to, come a couple swings from making history. No female had made a cut since Babe Dietrichson Zaharias, decades earlier. And yeah, you're right. We had the New York Times here. We had media from all over the place. I've never been interviewed like that where, you've got microphones coming at you from all over the place. And the moment I really remember from that is on Friday when she was playing the back 9 first on that Friday and hit a shot into 18, her 9th hole that day, to like 3 feet. Pretty secure birdie opportunity, which was going to take her to 4 under par, if I remember. And that walk up 18 with the hillside, I'm getting goosebumps on my arms, was something I'd never heard before, maybe never since, because it was just such appreciation, so many people, so loud. And then she has to walk all the way over to number 1. And it was, I had a writer there from Golf World who said to me, because I was standing by the media center when that was all going on, he goes, I've never seen anything like this other than a Tiger Woods event. And the cool thing was it brought so many young girls out. It brought so many women out that maybe hadn't come out before because of the fact that, this young lady was about to make history in a men's event. Unfortunately, on the 6th hole, she got into trouble, and then she missed the cut. We brought her back in 2006, brutally hot year, and she just didn't prepare correctly. They live in Hawaii. They're not used to oppressive heat and humidity. So that kind of ended that 2-year chapter, not on a positive note, but we kept in touch through the years. And, she had a nice career. She won the U.S. Women's Open and is now still involved in golf. But that was 05 and 06. So, we had John Rahm here. Ricky Fowler, who's back this year, he was a sponsor exemption. You hope that they come back. Hovland and Morikawa in 2019. It's you develop relationship with these guys, and hopefully they come back. Jason Day came back last year after a long stint. He's back this year. Yeah. We gave him a spot when he was a 17-year-old. He made his first check here. Camilo Villegas made his first check here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I keep making these long answers. Sorry.
No, this is fantastic. I love it. You mentioned Jason Day, and then I want to talk about the rest of look forward to this year a little bit. But Jason Day is my favorite story. That's not a big story. At the John Deere Classic. And I don't know if that makes sense, but when people ask you your favorite moments, it's easy to say three-peat, Jordan, all those kind of things. But for me, it was Jason Day running. And just the will go down as one of my under the radar favorite stories that I've ever got to do out there, and an amazing human being, very nice and gracious with his time, all those kind of things. Had extra time because he ran so fast. But I guess my question to you is, when it comes to those sidebar stories or events or happenings that have happened in those 20 years, what are your favorite ones that don't include like the easy slam dunk ones? Mine would be Jason Day running. What were those ones that maybe people don't look of right away that are favorites of yours?
Well, for people that don't know, let's fill in the blanks on that Jason Day one. He's playing by himself. He's had a bad week, by his standards. And on the first tee says, what's your record? How fast has somebody played? And with that, I had in his mind, it was like, an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. But for 18 holes is nuts. So he and his caddy, Kyle Swatton, go out and run around. They're throwing their drivers, to him. And he's running back to the tees and, give Andy Stotterow, the pro at that time, credit for putting on his locker when it was all over. He didn't break the record. He was still under 2 hours, but the sign that said nothing runs like a day, which is one of the great things ever. One of my favorite ones that has nothing to do with golf, but it has something to do with that week. We have, the Big Dig, where players can go out and operate construction equipment with their families and stuff, which is always cool. There's also fishing ponds out there at the John Deere test site. And we had Scott Ford, a good friend of mine, and his family would come out on that Tuesday night with all the fishing equipment and make sure that guys that wanted to fish could. And this was in the early 2000s, before everyone had cell phones and stuff. And the John Deere people would always say to the players, listen, you now know where we are. If you want to come out sometime during the week and throw a line into the pond, feel free, relax. So a couple days later, I'm at the golf course. Somebody comes up and goes, hey, we got a problem. There's a player out at the test site, and he's locked in. They've closed the gates, and he can't get out. I'm going, what the? Yeah, some player took his courtesy car and went to the second lake over the berm. He's got his Buick down there and didn't realize that the gates literally close, at 5 o'clock or something. So I'm going, all right, what the heck? And now it's, how do we get this guy out? Because we don't have cell phones and everything. Turns out to be Steve Stricker and his wife.
That's awesome.
And so we finally, get the guy with the key and everything. And so now, I'm just talking to Stricker afterwards, and he's so embarrassed and so apologetic. And now it's just a funny story. I said, a lot of celebrities, when they come back to a town where they've had significant impact, get a key to the city. We're going to give you a key to the test site next time you come back.
He deserves it. He deserves it as well.
Right.
No, so many fun stories. You mentioned that Jason Day one. We're going out in the media shuttle, and I think it was Mark Nessler that calls me, and he's like, hey, and we're out there pretty early, and he's like, hey, Jason Day's out there. I'm like, yeah, but he's not having a good week. He's playing by himself. He's like, no, he's running. And I looked at Wheezy and I'm like, he's running. So we Ryan. And God bless Wheezy. He's like a ninja. You can tell he's one of the most athletic people. So he's pound, and he didn't like it because, those photographers, they want to get these great shots. Well, he was moving so fast that I love the story. Wheezy likes it, but visually didn't love it. But it was one of our favorite stories we've gotten to do. Was there a phone call or a commitment or a couple of them that, as a tournament director, you were you'll remember, or a sigh of relief or an excitement or anything like that when it comes to, making sure you lock down somebody that you want to get?
Well, I think, we already talked about the Jordan Spieth winning the U.S. Open and then finding out that he had committed. I remember the early days, I quite honestly didn't know what the heck I was doing when I got this job.
Oh, that's good to know.
I was so ill prepared. The freedom to fail, promise. I exercised that. I just remember early on getting a call from Bernhard Langer wanting a hotel reservation. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm sitting here talking to Bernhard Langer. I used to be writing brochures, a year or so before, and he wants a hotel room. I'm just going, wow, I really am in a different place right now. But the commitments are always excruciating because everyone in town, rightfully so, you don't buy a concert ticket with the promise that, hey, we don't know who it's going to be, but they're really good, Yeah, put me down for $50, people want to know who's in the field. And the headliners, are the ones that people track and people follow. We had, it was so great to have our, favorite sons, Zach and Stricker, kind of always tell us early that they're going to be here. Another component of the Zach story, the continuous, I think this is 23rd straight event here or something like that. As you know, he wins I've got the flag behind me. He wins a Masters in 2007, and historically when someone wins a major, things change. Money is put in front of them. And I really didn't know if he was going to come back in 2008, and certainly would have understood if he didn't. But he gave us the commitment, and his manager kind of snuggled up to me during tournament week. Of course, he gets a cut from this too. He goes, I hope you understand how much money Zach turned down in order to come to this tournament, because it was significant. And he gets this little smirk on his face. So that was a big deal, having the Masters champion, our favorite son, come back in 2008.
Claire, I always go back to one of my first stories that Dan Burge let me do out at Deer Run was the Zach attack with the shirts that everybody wore. And so it's so great to, and I've gotten to know Zach very well and all those kind of things. So it's been fun to watch that as well. Let's move on to this year, because you mentioned, and Andrew Lehman, a friend of ours, doing a fantastic job. And I always say and I have friends and people that I know that get something, a business, whatever, and it's a really good business, and you could easily just, maintain or try to maintain. And I'm proud of them for taking it to like trying to go to another level. I think that's what Andrew's tried to do as well. He had a fantastic thing, and it would be so easy to sit back and say, all right, I can't mess this thing up. I want to just maintain. And he and the rest of the amazing staff out there have continued to try to do more concerts, all those kind of things. How have you watched as a proud papa, or how do you sit back and watch how this thing's developed in the last couple of years as well?
No, that's a great point. And, Andrew was an intern with us in 2006. So, he has a lot of history with the event. And in the event business, you can't just stand pat. You can't stand still. That was always, like I said, our objective was to do better next year than we did this year. And we had some good years, it's like, how do we do that? But it's also the fun part of the business. You can be really creative, and Andrew has, the build is different every year. This year, the concerts on course, spectators are going to have an opportunity to get even closer. Having concerts on the 18th fairway seemed impossible to me when I first heard about it. I'm going, thank goodness I don't have to deal with this. But he pulled it off, and the staff pulled it off. you're right. The staff is unbelievable. But in order to, again, survive in the event business, you have to have something fresh. The media, folks like yourself, are going to go, what's new this year? You have to be able to answer that question. So every assignment Andrew had from the time of 06, until I retired in 2022, he brought that same entrepreneurial, creative mindset to. He was the ops guy, for many years, and that changes every year as well. And he just nailed it. He nailed it. So I've told people we had, when it came time for me to retire, rightfully so, 35-person board, all of whom are in different businesses. Should we do, a search? Should we post this? What's the responsible thing to do? And I said, and everyone agreed, we could do a nationwide search and you wouldn't find someone any better qualified. You got the all-star sitting right here. Yeah. And he's proved that. And as has the rest of the staff, I'm not going to name the whole staff because every time I do that, I wind up leaving somebody out. But they're amazing. And it's only 7 people, when you think about all that is involved in putting this thing on. That's always a fun question. Hey, is this a full-time job? What else do you do? You've got, a title sponsor to spend time with and make sure that you're accomplishing their goals. You have the PGA Tour that you have to spend time with and make sure you're accomplishing their goals. You've got 70-plus sponsors that you have to spend time with and make sure you're accomplishing their goals. You've got 100 committee chairs that all have their own ideas on how to make things better. You got 35-person board that all have ideas on how to make things better. You got 2,000 volunteers, no shortage of ideas there. There's a lot involved in this job that people really don't understand. But Andrew and the staff are all-stars, and I don't just say that in a patronizing way. It's the real deal.
Now, Andrew was on recently, might have been a couple weeks ago, and he admitted that there was a time where he was the new tournament director, and you didn't tell him about the locked door in the bathroom? Does that ring a bell? He told that story to us. I couldn't stop laughing. You didn't give him a tip on the door. He locked himself in the bathroom.
Well, he can tell that story better than I can because I wasn't there. But yeah, there's a little small bathroom right next to the desk. Basically, the Hewitts added this onto the stone house decades ago, and I never found any reason to lock the door. It's only me and 5 steps away. Evidently he did. Maybe it hadn't been locked in a long time. He got stuck in there and had somebody come and bust the hinge or take the hinges off, and it was pretty comical, I guess. But
I love it.
There's only so many, some things you learn by experience and some things you learn by debriefing. I didn't think I needed to debrief him on that.
You would think he could figure out the bathroom door, but hey, who knows?
Right.
Looking at this field, give me your golf expertise. What do you like about it? We kind of talked before we started that the young guns are still there. I like the fact that maybe last year's young guns or the last couple years young guns are still there with Thornbornson and Luke Clanton. And then you got some great names with Ricky Fowler, Max Homa. And then the field's really good when it comes to the top 50, top 75 people coming here as well. Your thoughts on the field, and then who maybe do you like as you get ready to tee this thing off on Thursday?
I am. Well, I think you just answered your own question. We have, again, the Lasasso, Koiven, James exemptions. First 3 amateurs named to the Walker Cup. They are world class. And like Clanton and Thorbjornsen from years, Gordon Sargent from years before, who are now back, they've been identified already, as players that have a great future, and they've already accomplished a lot. So that was my son Luke always likes to go out on Thursday and make sure he follows the sponsor exemptions because, a couple of years later they'll be winning, a major or something. You go, oh yeah, I remember that. So I would encourage people to do that. Guys, the Max Homa coming back, Ricky Fowler coming back, Jason Day coming back. Those are big big names who have, add a lot of excitement for decades, really, in some cases, to the PGA Tour, and seeing them up close is always exciting. Andrew, I was at an event last night, and Andrew had said, it's quantifiable that there is a strength of field equation, and this is the strongest field that the John Deere Classic has ever had. And when you think of 156 players, you can't sit and name all of them and talk about the strengths and weaknesses necessarily of each individual player, but they are all world class. In order to get your PGA Tour status, you have to be a world class player. As far as who you like, the Georgia House, you can't ignore the Georgia House. I don't know who's all staying there this year, but there's a guy that I got to know a little bit at the end of my career, and he's a great player and has played here very well. I think he's on the verge, maybe. Denny McCarthy, I think, would be a good guy to follow this year, and potentially he might be the guy on Sunday to be raising that trophy. But I don't want to make any other player upset about this. I know that you have listeners, 12 million or whatever.
You know what? Zach listens to the show.
Oh, good.
Can you believe that?
Good. Well, yeah. Zach played great last week in Detroit.
No, don't start kissing his butt now. It's too late. You didn't.
It wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be a shock if he won. But, if you're thinking about a guy who might win for the first time, and this tournament has a history of a lot of first-time winners, might be a guy to follow.
You know what? You are the third, fourth person who's mentioned Denny McCarthy's name, and he's staying in the house. So,
is he really?
Sense. He is staying there. So
he's not a Georgia guy, though, is he?
No, I don't think so. But he's staying. Andrew told me he's staying in that house as well. So checks the box of requirements needed to win at the John Deere Classic. Before we let you go, you are now golfing at the John Deere Classic. You are in the Pro-Am. And they got the big names, and they're messing it up because, they're TJ Hawkinson. Who wants to go see a Viking? Can we agree with that? Let's be honest. Riley Moss, that's cute. That's cute. But Clair Peterson's golfing tomorrow. That's big news. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm not expecting big galleries around that group. The backstory is, and very thankful for it, Andrew, there's 208 amateur slots in the Pro-Am, and all those, are highly sought after. A lot of people travel in. Deere has, I think, over 100 of those spots, and they bring people in from all over the world. And every once in a while, for a variety of different reasons, you'll come into Tuesday and somebody hasn't been able to make it or whatever. So that was a situation. Andrew had called me up and said, hey, we unexpectedly have an opening for 2. Of course, as a tournament director, you can never play in the Pro-Am, never have. He goes, could you play? And I was just kind of stunned. I thought he was kind of joking with me to begin with. But it was a real deal. So my son Luke, who's a great athlete, loves golf, and made a quick call to him. So he and I are going to be playing tomorrow morning, teeing off on 10 in the quiet comfort of a no fan zone, it looks like, probably. But we're really looking forward to it. We have Alejandro Tosti and Emiliano Grillo that we're going to be playing with. I know Emiliano pretty well from years of talking to him. So we're looking forward to that in all seriousness. Really nice of Andrew to tap me on the shoulder. I still am trying to come to grips with it.
You're going to do great. I got to give you some credit. We golfed together at Media Day. And when I say we golfed together, Claire carried us per usual. Claire and Todd carried me and Wheezy like always in life. And and you're saying you're 70? Is that what you're claiming now?
72.
72. And you're shooting. You go on. Did you shot your age underage 69?
Yeah, I cracked the 70 barrier in score and shot my age for the first time this summer out of Davenport Country Club in a day that may never happen again. But, I had a good round there.
Okay, last one before I let you go. We've had Andrew on several times, and a running joke on the show is people who know Andrew and the John Deere Classic, the Angie Sharps of the world, people like that. We've had the question. It's Claire or Andrew, and right now you're ahead 4-0, and I think it bugs Andrew. Your thoughts on dominating the youngster so far right now?
I thought you were going to ask me to cast my vote.
Well, I don't want to.
I'll give Andrew my vote.
That's why I didn't ask for your vote.
Gap.
That's why I didn't ask for your vote, because I knew you'd do that. So I don't want him to get a vote yet. But yeah, you're still loved. You're still beating the heck out of that young whippersnapper, right?
Well, maybe you're just talking to the wrong people. Yeah, I'm sure he'll close the gap at some point.
Although Jason Fechner called you dishonorable, if you remember that.
I do remember that. I watch, as I said, I'm a subscriber, and he always wanted a sponsor exemption. I tried early on to, discourage him from even bringing that up because it ain't happening, It
was a good decision.
I don't know if you've had a vote yet, but I know that when I gave you a hard time about your 25-year-old belt with loops that kept getting longer, punching more holes into the belt. It was like the Grand Canyon in different eras, Here's a plasticine area, or era. I finally had to give you a belt because you're Detroit Lions. Let's just bring it up. Let's close it up on a negative note. The Lions have, mistreated my Packers now for a while, and I had to give you the championship belt. Yeah, I know.
I got my guy Dan Campbell right here.
So you might be able to see a cheesehead in the background. Ho Sung Choi signed that cheesehead for me.
Oh.
He had met Aaron Rodgers before. He had a good swing. Anyway, Andrew's great, regardless of what the voting public has to say. Sometimes voters get it wrong, as we may know.
and people do know that it takes a little while before you get your place in history. So I think here's the thing. A lot of people, everybody, it's been 1 and 1A or 1 tied. I mean, you guys have both done a great thing. I've appreciated this conversation. Claire, it's funny because so many times I've done these and I got a time limit. And I've had to go quick because hey, I can go we can do this all the time. So I appreciate it. I know where I'm going to be. We're going to do the show out at Deer Run tomorrow. So we'll be out here, out there, 10 o'clock. The off the air will be live from the John Deere Classic. But I'm going to have to go over at 8 o'clock, I think, and watch you tee off. I think that's where I'm going to be.
Oh, man. All right.
Just hit it straight.
We'll hit it straight. Airborne.
Who cares about the rest of the day? Just that first tee shot, hit it good. Okay?
I appreciate that. We'll give it our best.
Claire, I appreciate you. We'll see you this week out at the course.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate being with you.
That is Clair Peterson, longtime tournament director at the John Deere Classic. Did a fantastic job for 20 years, and now getting ready to tee it up at the Pro-Am coming up tomorrow. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf. PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zac Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. A busy time of year in the world of sports. When it comes to the Quad Cities, of course, the John Deere Classic, the golf week is officially here. Play will begin on Thursday. Again, thank you to Clair Peterson for joining us in the first hour of the show. That was a ton of fun. Don't forget, we are taking Off the Air on the road. We'll be live at the John Deere Classic Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So hopefully technology doesn't beat me up and I can get things all set up tonight and we'll be ready to rock and roll tomorrow. But it's also a busy time of year because the Bandits are in town this week. Quad City Steamwheelers on a bye week, but they head to the bye week with a playoff spot in hand. And that's not the ultimate goal, but we're joined now by the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, Cory Ross. And Coach, first and foremost, congratulations. It's good to go into a bye week with a playoff spot. Well done this past week.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was an exciting game. It was special, obviously, military night, and our fan base showed up and showed out for us. And our guys played probably our most complete game of the year so far, which is really good, starting, being where we are in the season right now. So excited about, how we attack this bye week.
Absolutely. I wanted to start and talk about that game with Mass because you guys got so many victories, 10 wins on the year. And we've talked several times throughout the year that, winning was good, but it wasn't a complete game yet. And I know I've known you for years. I know you're still not happy. You never are. But there's that game seemed like you just mentioned as close to as complete a performance as you guys have had all year. Kind of talk about that because you once again played well in most facets of the game. And as you get ready to hit that home stretch, that's exactly what you want to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about the three phases, obviously offense, defense, special teams, and all three of those phases this past weekend, we were able to get work in, and that was actually pretty good work. Offensively, it was good to see us attack the field and attack the deep ball downfield. We had some opportunities, and when we took those opportunities, took those shots, the guys handled it very, very well and made some big plays for us. Defensively, I think we've been playing really, really well all year long. Coming off the collapse that we had down in Jacksonville, Florida, both offensively and defensively, to answer back against a team like Massachusetts, one of the top teams in the league, runner-up last year, and a team that was on a 4-game winning streak, to answer the way we did, really showed what kind of heart these guys have and really really understands where their mentally mind is right now as far as what we want to do with these last 3 games now heading to these playoffs.
Coach, you mentioned it. It seems like, and there hasn't been a lot of stumbles this year, not a lot of struggles, but when you guys have struggled, you've bounced back nicely. The first 2 losses of the season came back to back, and then there was a bye week, and the way you responded out of that bye week was really good. Kind of talk to that, because I know yourself, your coaching staff, bad things are going to happen. Losses are going to happen, unfortunately. It's how you respond from adversity that defines you, and this team seems like a championship team in that aspect. They respond well. Can you speak on that?
Well, what I really like and what I really just admire just when I watch these guys practice after a loss is they really hate losing. And I tell them all the time, you got to hate it the way I hate it. And I see it rubbing off because the practices the past week, even the weeks after we lost over at Green Bay, being that we were banged up and everything, the guys they hated it. And then the loss last week on the road way back to the hotel, and then how they handled practice this week, they hate losing, and that's the beauty part about this game is when you talk about the bounce back. You gotta not want that feeling again, and our guys just don't like that. And so, being that this thing is getting really close to the end, with 3 games left and then playoffs around the corner, there's been a focus that just that triggers, it changes, and I've been playing this game for a long time, and even when I played in the NFL, there were times where you just had a cool, calming throughout the playoffs, throughout the regular season, and then all of a sudden practices just tense up, coaches just get a little bit more on you, and all of a sudden oh yeah, this is where it really counts. Like, the regular season counts to get there, but once you get to the playoffs, this is where it really counts. And so seeing us kind of change that tune and turn that gear this past week, and then how we practice, and then even now how the guys are attacking the bye week right now. I'm excited. I'm excited about where we can go, and just as long as we stay healthy, man, we should be able to compete in every one of these games moving forward.
We're going to talk about the stretch run here in a second, and the bye week. Can you take me into the locker room after the last game? And I love the environment. The home environment's awesome. It's always a party, a celebration, all that kind of stuff. What was it like knowing you had a playoff spot? I can just assume, obviously, there's happiness, but this doesn't seem like a team that's popping champagne just because it made the playoffs. Can you talk to that? Because obviously it's an accomplishment and it's great, but I think this team is focused on bigger things. What was that locker room like?
The locker room this game was a little different. I think more so everyone was excited about getting the win and obviously getting the bye week, because it's needed, very, very much needed with this the bodies and the banged up guys that we have, the constant hours we're putting in as coaches, because I do ask them to do a lot, and they've been huge for us this year, my coaching staff. What's crazier is, when you have a game like that, we actually auction off our military jerseys too. So one of those, when you do those nights, it turns out to be a really, really long night. So after this game, I didn't even get to talk to the team because it was just taking that long, because how beautiful the win, and obviously, it's just military night. It's a special night. So I didn't get to talk to them, but when they were coming in, guys coming out, you just saw the energy, the excitement. That win was huge for us, especially like we talked about coming out to Jacksonville, and knowing just how capable Mass is of being a team that can just sweep through this thing and make it to the championship like that. And so being able to get the sweep over those guys and just kind of get that, as far as you're talking about record-wise, any kind of what they call it, any kind of tiebreaker scenarios that can happen, we ended up securing that over them. And so we didn't even know we made the playoffs yet, and it took a couple of days for us to really realize that, because I think I was asked during the game, I'm like, I'm not sure yet. I didn't know the things that happened with the other teams, But when we found out, and obviously I think we talked about clinching, they popped it out yesterday and all over social media that we clinched. Um, it's where we want to be, but now we have another goal, and obviously that's to make sure we try to give our fans what they want, and that's a home field playoff game, and if not, hold on to that throughout the playoffs and get to the championship. So, again, I keep telling you guys, and I know guys don't like hearing it, but it's 1-0, Right now we got Green Bay coming in, and that's the next game. And so the thought process right now is, playoffs is there, but Green Bay's coming in next week, and they're trying to gain momentum. They're trying to figure us out because they're going to be in the playoffs as well, and we'll probably see them again. So we got to figure that out right now, and maybe even set a tone on what we want to do moving forward.
You mentioned the bye week, and I want to talk to you about that because I think there was one bye week, probably the bye week when you guys were 6-0 or 4-0, something like that, and you had a bye week probably after 4-0, and I was like, hey, do you want to stop because like things are rolling, and I think it was you or another player, I can't remember, that just said like, no, we're good with a bye week because we need it, and you mentioned needing it. There's just two schools of thought because obviously if you play well, you want to keep rolling, but also it's a long season, Coach. And it's a grind on your body, mentally, physically, all that kind of stuff. What have you told your boys about what you want them to accomplish, do during this bye week, knowing that when you guys get back, it's 3 regular season games and then hopefully a bunch more games after that?
Yeah, it's activity, let's not lose sight to what we're doing. Obviously, it's bye week, and I think after a win like that, guys want to go party, enjoy themselves, and I preach making sure you have fun, but you have to find a cutoff day and of time of fun and get the mind back to focus on what the task was. And Monday, Tuesday is what I told these guys. Really start getting back in the weight room, running, conditioning, just staying in the overall shape that we have gotten ourselves into, so we can continue to win and play football at a very, very high level. So guys understand that. I mean, they have been professional this entire season throughout our community, and like I said, it's just a blessing to have a group of guys like this to coach that all care about the only one thing, and that's winning. You get in this game, you get the egos, you get the players, the guys wanting the stats, the guys wanting to get to the next level, and we know how that is, stats, things like that. This group right now has been really, really special in understanding, like, for an offense, whatever the defense is giving us, we're going to take it. And for the defense, it's just getting after the ball no matter what, no excuses. And so it's exciting as a coach to just watch these guys develop the type of chemistry they're getting together, and they're wanting to play together and just play for each other. And that's all you ask for from as a coach. And all we can do is just put these guys in position and let them have fun. And our coaching staff is doing a great job.
Wheelers head coach Cory Ross joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A few more for you before I let you continue your bye week. And I know you just said it's 1-0, it's cliches, but I'm going to be the dumb media guy that's going to keep asking about the big picture, because you look at the stretch run and 2 of them are at home, coming off one at home. So 3 or 4 is at home. The only other game you got to go to Des Moines. And I know they're 1-11, but it's a rivalry. I get all those kind of things. But you like the fact that there's no big trips. There's no big crazy long journeys. Yeah. Kind of talk about the way this thing sets up, because, yes, that's the goal is to be at home, and you have a chance to get the job done at home in order to ensue that you're at home in the postseason, if that makes any sense. It looks nice the way things sets up on paper.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd be an idiot not to just see the scenarios and situation, how it's laid out right now. Being able to get, our last 4 games pretty much close to home, 3 of them at home and 1 just down the street in Des Moines, where we can get some fans to travel down there and give us the energy we need as well. So as a coach, you look at that scenario and you look how it's set up, and it can be both very, very good and bad at the same time. You can just think, oh, we have this in the bag, or you really can understand, like, hey, let's go handle our business and we can maintain this and get the bag. So the excitement there is obviously from a visual standpoint, we're excited about it. But like I told you, from a mental standpoint, it's one game, man. It's Green Bay at home. Let's handle it. Let's get our 9th man in there. We had a great crowd last week. Need an even bigger crowd with this game coming up. Because they're just coming off a loss, and I know they're going to come back. They're still counting on trying to get home field playoff and also trying to clinch as well, because they're on a bye week. So It's going to be the game of the week. I believe is going to be next week. Steamwheelers versus the Blizzards, and it's going to be one at home for us. So we got to make sure we show up and show out, man. I'm excited about this one.
It's perfect because fans can go to the John Deere Classic this week. There's no game this week. Enjoy some golf this weekend. Get that golf out of your system, and then the following weekend, get down to the Vibrant Arena, get down to ex-USD Field, and check out the Wheelers as well. How are you health wise, my man? Are you feeling good? You getting there?
Yeah, we're getting there. I was off the scooter this past week, so I'm excited about that. I got the crutches on with a boot. Strengthening there with the leg is really good. Doing some stuff here while I'm at home and with the rehab, and I'm hoping next week you might see me on the field. I might still have the boot on, but at least I'll be walking without the crutches. So that's the goal. We'll see. We're not going to rush anything, but obviously I would love to get back on that football field. Just really be right there in the bulk of the game and get a feel for. There's something to be different about being on the field and calling stands. On the field, I can look at the defense and I can see their reactions, some of their faces, and I can sense some plays that I really can have a sense of what we want to do just by seeing some of the looks of some of those guys' eyes. And so, and also being able to, look our guys in the eye and get the passion to come out because they're looking at me and they know how passionate I get when I'm out there on the football field. And so that's going to be fun to get back out there and really just be a part of that part of the game. But again, we've been able to make the adjustment, man, and our, like I said, our coach has been huge in helping out, stepping up, being out there, but our team and our guys have been resilient and just understanding the coach towards Achilles, which is crazy, but being able to adjust to how we was going to have to coach and move and not have the mistakes of some of the things that you would think we would have. We've been really good at it, and it's a testament to our guys.
Coach, we had last one for you. We had Destiny on last week. Destiny Brown, one of the fantastic young GMs in the IFL.
Greatest GM in the league.
Yeah, she's outstanding. And she admitted, I don't know if you watched, but she admitted that you guys tend to get competitive, and you guys have played a little hoops and all those kind of things. She was nice and said that you still would probably get her in one-on-one, but she can outshoot you. Would you like to respond with your basketball abilities and what Destiny said last week?
There's no doubt about it. I'm probably the best athlete on this team still to this day. But I will say this: probably the most competitive guy on this field in this organization is probably me, and Destiny's a very, very close second. And I will say her jumper is probably. I would say I would put my money up against anybody that wants to shoot against Destiny. I didn't realize her jumper was like that, and she makes me want to get in the gym and just make sure I shoot before I challenge her again. But she definitely has her jumper is what the young guys call very, very wet. It happens like that. It's like water. It goes right in the basket like nothing.
I love it.
So yeah, she's challenged, but yeah. I think anything else. I ping pong, pool, bags. We get competitive in that organization, man. And I think, from the top down, everybody. We had two guys, our assistant general manager and our marketing, one of our, I want to say our graphic designer, I don't even know how to say it. I hate to say it, but James Macklin and Dustin Eichen. We had these guys racing during training camp. They were so competitive that after practice, we got all around them. The guys rallied it up and they raced because that's how competitive they were.
I love it.
And that had to be a fun. If Dustin lets us show you the video, because that was probably one of the most hilarious videos, but we haven't been able to release that because Dustin doesn't want that to be released. But this happened to be one of the best races of the year.
Are you still winning all these things? Ping pong, basketball,
of
bags?
Course.
Are you still winning?
I got beat by Coach West on ping pong outside of 1848 pub where our after parties were, and it was really windy. So he was in the Army, and all they do in the Army is play ping pong, and I still almost beat him. So he actually got me. But no, I can beat him. I beat anybody in bags. Yeah, you name it, I'm ready to play.
That is the always modest head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, Cory Ross. Coach, always enjoy the conversation. Enjoy the bye week. Get back on the field. Don't hurt yourself again. I don't want to tell you this, but we're getting a little older, so we got to be a little more careful. But get healthy, and we'll catch up with you guys again real soon. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right. That is the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, Cory Ross. The Wheelers are in the postseason, which is super exciting, a lot of fun. And, of course, 3 more games in the regular season left before they get ready for the postseason. There will be postseason football here in the Quad Cities and most likely some home football games as well for the Quad City Steamwheelers. That is very exciting as well. We got more to get to. Coming up next on the show, we're going to talk a little MAC baseball. Davenport North enjoying another outstanding season once again. They're 12-4 in MAC play. I got to check them out last night. We're going to talk to their head coach, Colin Carstens, coming up right after this. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, July 1st, our last day doing the show this week here in studio. And yes, by studio, I mean my luxurious loft. We are heading on the road next week, or I should say tomorrow. We will be at the John Deere Classic Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the shows will be from Deere Run. Super excited about that. Make sure you guys join us. Tune in and check it out. We're going to have a ton of fun. So one of the things I get to do these days is call some MAC baseball, MAC softball, some high school events for MediaCom, for MC22. Fantastic local coverage of high school sports. And last night I was able to do play-by-play, I should say, for the Battle of Davenport between Davenport North and Davenport Central in baseball. And it was Davenport North, very impressive, winning the doubleheader, sweeping the doubleheader, improving to 12-4 in conference play. And we're lucky enough to be joined by their head coach, Colin Carstens, right now. Coach, thanks for letting me bug you for the second straight day. I kept you late almost last night. You missed the bus, and then you did this. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. I'm glad I could make it on today. It was good talking to you last night, and excited to talk to you again today. Absolutely.
I guess I'm going to start with last night, and then I want to look big picture with some things. But Davenport North, a fantastic season once again, 12-4, and you go on the road to Central, who's not having the best of seasons right now. But you can, I know it's cliche, but you throw the records out the window. How important is it for you guys to get the job done against a rival on the road in that type of environment? You had to be happy as a head coach.
Yeah, definitely. We preached all week to our guys. We played Central yesterday, and we have West on Thursday. And it's, city battle week. We're going to get Central's best shot, which we got yesterday. And we told the guys the records are out the window. We've got to show up and play our best baseball because those games they're competitive every year. It doesn't matter what the records are. Those guys all know each other. They're Davenport kids. And I thought our guys played well, Game one, we didn't have the bats going, but Brandon found a way to keep us in the baseball game on the mound. And we were able to pull away. And then game two, the bats came alive, and we were able to take care of business and leave with 2 wins. And that was the plan going in.
Coach, I know you like to be able to win in baseball in a variety of ways, and you kind of mentioned it. I was stuck with John Marks last night, if that makes any sense. He was my color commentator, but I was stuck with Johnny for the night, and we didn't know what to expect in game one, whether it would be a pitcher's duel or if it would be what we kind of saw in game two, and we got a pitcher's duel. Hats off to the young man pitching for Central. I want to say Cole Sullivan was his name.
Yeah.
Gave up 2 earned runs in 6 innings, something like that. He threw it really well. And then you mentioned Brandon B. To win a pitcher's duel, and then you get the bats going in game 2. Kind of talk about that, because the ability to win baseball games in a variety of ways is extremely important, especially with the postseason right around the corner.
Yeah, Cole pitched a really good game for Central. He kept our guys off balance at the plate. And then, Brandon, early on, they had bases loaded, no outs in the first inning, and he's a competitor. He loves the big moment, and he shines in the big moment. And he did a good job getting out of the first inning and then staying poised throughout the rest of the game. And then game 2, I think we took the energy from game 1, and the guys knew that their bats were going to come alive. We've been hitting the ball pretty well most of the season, and you're going to have games like that where the bats go cold, and that's when you need someone to step up on the mound or step up defensively and make a big play. And we were able to do that, and thankfully the bats came alive game 2, and hopefully that continues on to Thursday.
You look at that lineup, Coach, and obviously a little quiet in game 1, but game 2, things get rolling, hitting is contagious, all those kind of things. But when you set a lineup each and every doubleheader or a game out, you have the ability to stack some pretty darn good hitters back to back to back to back to back. Kind of talk about that, because as a coach, you like to look up and down your lineup and see production, and that's especially what happened in game number 2. But all of these guys having really good seasons.
Yeah, they make the job pretty easy to write the lineup when they're hitting the baseball the way they hit the baseball. We preach having an approach every single day. That's the big thing we preach in our locker room and at practice. When hitting your pitch early in the count, or when it's a hitter's count. So we preach that. The guys have bought into that, and you see them start to hitting good pitches when they're ahead in the count, and that leads to extra base hits. That's what we saw a lot of yesterday.
Yeah, and it got rolling in game 2. I want to talk to you about your shortstop. Bryce Pauly, obviously one of the most talented kids that we get to see in the Quad City area. Hit the ball that I think hit one that I don't think's landed yet. But you can just see it with him. What's it like to be around him, an Indiana commit? What's he like? And everything I've heard, a hardworking young man, dedicated young man. Kind of talk about what he's like day in and day out, having a young man and a talent like that in your program.
Yeah. He eats, sleeps, and lives baseball. He's a kid that puts the work in the off season. And then it shows when it comes season time. He's done a really good job. What I'm most impressed with him this year is he's had a lot of success, and he's, a lot of guys are throwing a lot of different stuff at him, whether it's off speed early in the count, whether it's trying to pitch backwards or around him. He's staying disciplined, and he's staying patient at the plate. He's still waiting to hit a pitch. Sometimes when guys aren't giving you a whole lot to swing at, you start to chase some pitches. And he doesn't do that. He's very disciplined, and that shows. I think his on-base percentage is over 700. He's a heck of a baseball player. I think he's got 7 home runs on the season now, and he's also been walked a ton. He's patient, and as long as he can continue to do that, he'll continue to have a lot of success at the plate.
Coach, you kind of took the words out of my mouth, because a great situation last night, bases loaded, and he had just hit a bomb the last at bat, and he got up there and he didn't get much, and he hit just a good at bat because he didn't give in. A lot of players, a lot of young people, and I think he hit one foul that might not have landed yet, but a lot of young people want to make that play or hit that grand slam, and he stayed patient within himself. He wasn't the only player that impressed last night. I want to talk to you about a few others, and I don't want to, show favoritism or anything like that, but you mentioned Brandon B. and his, from our angle with the MediaCom crew, we're right down there, right behind, right off the batter's eye and stuff like that, and it was impressive to see. A little giddy up on the fastball, probably runs it up there 84-85, and some really good movement. To have a guy like that you can give the ball to in the postseason has got to be exciting for you.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Brandon's a competitor. Whether that's on the mound, whether it's in center field, whether it's in the batter's box, he's a competitor. And, he wants the baseball in all those big games. So he got the ball, bases loaded, no outs, like I said, in the first inning. And he didn't shy down from that moment at all. He found a way to get out of the inning and get us back in the dugout. He's got a plus fastball, but Brandon can throw multiple pitches for strikes. He wants to compete. And he's going to make you go hit his pitch. And that's what's nice having Brandon on the mound. You know what you're going to get. He's going to go keep you in the baseball game. And so we're very thankful to have a guy like that on the mound for us. And I could go up and down the lineup. We had a lot of guys step up and make some really good defensive plays yesterday. We had a lot of guys step up with the bats game too. And like you said, there's a lot of guys up and down the lineup. You can't just pinpoint a few of them, but they showed up and they performed yesterday, and we're going to continue that on into Thursday against Davenport West.
I have to give my new favorite player a shout out, because Caden Weaver impressed the heck out of me. Your second baseman made a bunch of good plays, and it's maybe a baseball thing, Coach, but I love watching a second baseman attack the baseball and not, at that position. And then he made the fancy plays, the diving catches. Then he came in and saved game 1 and got the save in game 1 and hit it well at the plate. Those are the guys that you love to have in your program, aren't they? Guys that just do everything the right way and play the game the right way?
Definitely. His play up the middle on the line drive yesterday was one of the best plays I've seen this year. But, that's Caden Weaver. I can't say that I'm surprised, because, he continues to make big plays like that for us defensively. He's a senior. He wants the baseball too. I told him that, he was going to go in when Brandon hit his pitch count, and it didn't matter what the score was. It didn't matter who was on base. He was going to get the ball and he was going to do what he does with it. And yeah, like you said, defensively, I mean, everything yesterday, it was just clockwork for him. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to just sit back and watch him and Paulie up the middle with their double play turns. But it's something that we work really hard on at practice every day, whether it's our flips, whether it's our throws, footwork. Those guys work really hard on that stuff, and it shows when it comes game time when they get a chance to turn a double play or do something like that.
It's a fun time of year, Coach, because the postseason is right around the corner. You finish up with Davenport West this week on Thursday. I think you have a game at Western Dubuque over the weekend or next week sometime, and then postseason is here. And you look at it, 12-4 in conference play, and the non-conference games too. You guys have been tested and playing good competition. No coach is ever happy this time of year, but where are you at with this team? Or maybe no coach is ever happy ever, but where are you at with this team? They seem to be playing good baseball, and obviously it's a program now that doesn't just expect to have some wins here and there. You guys have expectations of doing well in the postseason and getting back to that state tournament.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys were on the team last year when we had some success. We came up short of the state tournament, and that's the goal every year. But they did get a little taste of what it was like to, they won their home opener, and then, lost in the second round to PV. But they got a taste of what it was like to have some success, and I think that's really going to push them. Here comes sub-state time, just like every other team. We have North Scott first game, and they're going to bring their best shot too. But we get another home game for our guys. We have great fans that show up every year, and I know our guys are going to be ready to go. They're going to be excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, we have been tested. We've had some losses this year that I think taught us a lot about ourselves. And we went back to practice and we worked, and we fixed what we needed to fix. And there's something you can take away from every game. And our guys are going to continue to do that all the way up until our sub-state game. And so we're not going to look ahead of Davenport West right now. We're going to get ready for them on Thursday. And after that game, we'll get ready for Western Dubuque on Tuesday, and then it'll start getting ready for North Scott on Thursday or
Coach,
Friday.
last one for you. You see how hardworking of a team it was last night, and working in practice, all those kind of things. But every team has a personality. This team seemed to have a little personality to them as well. What's these guys like off the field? The intangibles, a fun group to be around, I'm assuming.
They're a really good group to be around. We went to Omaha this year. It was an absolute blast. The kids love baseball. They got to go to the College World Series. They had a great time with that. Going to the hotel and hanging out. I mean, they're just a really good time to be around. Even at practice, they come to practice. They're ready to work. When we leave practice, I went to a couple graduation parties. I mean, they're all there together. So it's hard to get them apart from each other, to be honest with you. Sometimes I think we need to take a little break from one another. But they're a fun group to be around. They love the game of baseball. They love to put the work in. And that makes practice pretty easy. That makes, all the off-season stuff pretty easy. They kind of come and take care of it themselves. And you got to kind of just get to sit back and watch them do something that they love. And that's what's fun about coaching this group.
Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Really enjoyed watching your group last night. A lot of fun. They got the sweep of Central. Now you get another dogfight with West on Thursday night. And then best of luck in the postseason as well. Hopefully we can catch up again soon. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Matt, thank you so much for having me. We appreciate it.
All right. That is head coach over at Davenport North for the baseball program, Colin Carstens, doing a fantastic job. I think year number 4 for him with the program and continuing to do great things over at Davenport North. We appreciate him for stopping by and being on the show today. Well, we got one last time out. We'll wrap up a Tuesday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo right after this.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Back on OTA here on a Tuesday, the last day that we will be in our studio, hopefully, this week, Technology, my friends. You got to bear with me, but I'm pretty sure we can do this. We will be live out at the John Deere Classic Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we kind of celebrate an awesome week that is the John Deere Classic. Of course, tomorrow is the Pro-Am. TJ Hawkinson is teeing it up. Riley Moss is teeing it up. And as we told you earlier in the show, Clair Peterson is teeing it up in the Pro-Am as well. So get out tomorrow. Always a ton of fun on a Wednesday. Check out the Pro-Am, check out the golfers, and then play begins on Thursday, round 1 of the John Deere Classic. And of course, cut day comes up on Friday, moving day on Saturday, and then we will crown a John Deere Classic champion coming up on Sunday as well. So the plan for the rest of the week shows Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday out at Deere Run. I'll be out there this weekend as well. We'll do a couple videos and a couple live videos throughout the weekend, just kind of updating everybody on what's going on. And then, of course, we will wrap everything up next Monday when it comes to the John Deere Classic and talk about the new John Deere Classic champion as we get ready for a great week of golf right here in the Quad Cities. Also, don't forget to get into our OTA John Deere Classic Pick'em contest. Head to social media, my social media. Let me know who you think is going to win the John Deere Classic. Give me a final score as well. At stake, a pin flag signed by Davis Thompson and also a bobblehead from the defending champion as well. Get on there, get that done. Best of luck to you with that as well. Of course, we want to thank, I'm going to try to do this, see if I can do this on the fly, because what happened is we have a new sponsor and I got him added to the board and I cannot find it. But anyways, we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to do this each and every day. They are the best of the best. Mobile Party Experience, Godfather's Pizza. If you're out at the John Deere Classic and you're leaving or going to, give yourself time to stop by Godfather's Pizza right there by the John Deere Classic in Silvis. Tell Andy Furman we sent you. Get some great pizza, all that kind of stuff as well. Rafferty Funeral Home, Hungry Hobo, the Quad City Steamwheelers, and of course, my guy Snoop for their great support of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. This has been a Tuesday edition of OTA. We'll be back with you from Deere Run tomorrow right here. We'll see you guys then.